Okay, so now let's talk about factoring by grouping. So factoring by grouping will be done if we start out with 4 terms. So here are steps. There are 4 steps. Our first step is just starting with the 4 terms. Okay, the next step is to group together the first 2 pieces and the last 2 pieces. Okay, then our step 3 is to find the GCF of each binomial, so each set of parentheses. Then we're going to factor out the GCF, the matching binomial, and find our final answer. Our final answer will be written as 2 binomials multiplied together. So let's begin this top example here. So started with 4 terms. I grouped the first 2 together, last 2 together. Now, what's my GCF of a squared minus 4a? So there's no whole number that I can take out, but I can divide out in a. So a squared divided by a was a. Negative 4a divided by a was negative 4. The a's canceled. So now I'm going to find the GCF of this binomial. 6 and 24, the biggest number I can divide out is 6. 6a divided by 6 is a, the 6 is canceled, or you could put a 1a. Negative 24 divided by 6 is negative 4. If we have done this right, then these 2 pieces should match. So these should match. So what we're going to be doing here is taking out or factoring out the a minus 4. So one of these binomials should always be your match. And the other one will be what's left. So when we take out the a minus 4, we're left with a plus the 6. So let's do a whole example here. Number 4, so we're going to regroup. So we're going to group the first 2 together, last 2 together, put a plus sign in between them to separate them. So 2x squared and 2x. The biggest number I can divide out of both of those is 2. And they both have an x, so I'm going to divide out an x. 2x squared divided by 2x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X squared divided by x is x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X divided by x cancel. I know that I've done this right because if I multiply it back in, 2x times x is 2x squared, 2x times 1 is 2x. If I multiply it back in and it does not give me right back up here, then I know that I've made a mistake. All right, so I know that this piece will end up matching something else here. So a couple thought processes is, the first is, what's my GCF of 5x and 5? All right, another thought process is, okay, well, how do I get this 5x into a 1x? Well, I divide by 5. And 5x and 5, my GCF is a positive 5. If it's positive, I'm going to put a plus there. 5x divided by 5 is 1x, or just x. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Seeing that those 2 match, I know I'm okay to move on. So my final answer here is going to be factoring out my GCF, which now we have these 2 things multiplied, these 2 things multiplied. So if I divide by the matching, those factor out. And I'm left with 2x plus 5. That's my final answer. Remember back to last unit when we did the whole foiling thing and we did multiplication? If I were to go back and distribute here and multiply, I would get back to this step in the very next step. So that's a good way to check your answer. B. So I'm going to group the first 2 together, last 2 together, making sure that that sign stays with the 4y, plus sign between them. All right, so now let's factor out our GCF. 3 and 18, both are divisible by 3. Y squared and y, I could take out a y. 3y squared divided by 3y is just y. 18y divided by 3y. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Y's cancel. All right, negative 4y and 24. Both of those numbers are divisible by 4. So if I take out a 4, negative 4y divided by 4, I would get negative 1 here, negative 1y. But I want it to be positive. So I'll take out a negative 4 as my GCF. Negative 4y divided by negative 4 is positive 1y. Negative 24 divided by negative 4 is positive 6. If I didn't take out the negative, then these would not match. My final answer is 2 binomials multiplied together. After I factor out my GCF of y plus 6, then I have left over 3y minus 4. Got 4 more examples doing the same thing. If you feel confident, you can go ahead and pause and try one on your own, and then play the video and watch. Grouping first two together, last two together. 4a squared minus 3a. So 4 and 3, I can't divide out any whole numbers, but I can take out an a. 4a squared divided by a is just 4a. Negative 3a divided by a is negative 3. Okay, so here's a funny thing. Now I know that I want this to match another part, so I'm going to divide this parentheses by something to get it to match. But it already matches. So in this case, 4 and 3, the biggest number they're both divisible by is 1. So if I divide out a 1, that will allow it to stay the same. So 4a divided by 1 is 4a. Negative 3 divided by 1 is negative 3. And they match. Factoring out the matching piece, the GCF matching, 4a minus 3, and I'm left with the a plus 1. Part D. I'm going to group the first two together, last two together, making sure I have that negative sign with the negative 12y. So my GCF of 2y squared and 5y, all I can take out is a y. So that's going to drop this one down to just 2y, and that y goes away, so plus 5. GCF of 12 and 30. So I know they're both divisible by 2. That would leave me with 6 and 15, which are still both divisible by 3. So what number is bigger? Well, I can divide both of those by 6, because this divided by 6 is 2, this divided by 6 is 5, so that would get me to the right spot. Or, here's another thought process. If I want these to end up matching, these first pieces, I'm thinking, how do I get 12 into a 2? Well, I would divide by 6. Better yet, how would I get negative 12 to a 2? What's negative 12 divided by 2? Negative 6. So negative 12 divided by negative 6 is positive 2. I keep the y. Negative 30 divided by negative 6 is positive 5. So if you're stuck with GCF, then you can kind of work backwards and do the division. My final answer should be 2 binomials multiplied together. I'm going to take out my GCF, so 2y plus 5. Then I will be left with y minus 6. So you might ask, like, oh, well, does it matter if I have these flip-flopped? And no, it doesn't, because if this was like 10 plus 9, that's 90, and if this was 9 times 10, like I said plus, if this was 10 times 9, it's 90. If it was 9 times 10, it's still 90. So if you had these flipped, that would be okay. So your answer could be y minus 6 times 2y plus 5. 2 more here. All right, so this one we just have some more letters. First together, last together. This one has an F and a G. This one has a 5 and a G. So I can't divide out any numbers, but letters, they both have a G to divide. So this one, the G cancels, so I'm left with F. This one, the G cancels, so I'm left with minus 5. So in the second binomial, 4F minus 20, I can divide out a 4. 4F divided by 4 is just F. Negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5. Final answer is 2 binomials multiplied together, F minus 5 and G plus 4. Last one. Split them up, first and last. First two, last two. 16 and 8, those are both divisible by 8. All right, 16. Oh, sorry, I can take out an x from both of those. So 16x squared divided by 8x. 16 divided by 8 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. 8 divided by 8 is 1. X divided by x, cancel. 6x plus 3, I can divide both 6 and 3 by 3. 6x divided by 3 is 2x. 3 divided by this 3 is 1. These match, so that gives me the go-ahead to move on. So I've got the 8x plus the 3. I'll drop that first down. Then I have my match, 2x plus 1.